All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a day where China slaps tariffs on the U.S. Apparently, the EU is getting ready to do the same. And I'm going to post a link in chat here if it'll let me. Hey, it'll let me. So there's a link to a political article. Apparently, Europeans are also thinking about slapping tariffs on the U.S. China has already done so as well, which is putting pressure on our markets here today, pushing gold prices up a little bit this morning. On the overnight session, looks like when that came out, we have a nice spike in gold. We'll see what the GLD. Also a nice little spike up. Nothing crazy though. Maybe that'll get us our next catalyst. We're in some fairly low volume territory here on the GLD. Nasdaq selling off a little bit, 0.5%, not that much, but definitely off those highs from a few days ago. So market looking a bit more red today. It appears that this looks like the last couple corrections we've had. Oh, Anik down 4%. That's no bueno. My computer's acting slow today. Ooh, Anik looks like it's trying to fall out of structure, unfortunately. All right, CPU's doing good. Chrome's working a lot. 88%. I doubled my memory and I still have 88% memory usage. Man, Chrome, you are a greedy bitch. Greedy, greedy, greedy. What was that? Well, that's Anik this morning. I didn't get a look at them. It's like, why is my freaking thing so slow? And of course, TradingView taking up 2.4 gigs of memory. DevTools 2 gigs of memory. Binance 2 gigs of memory. Can't do anything fun anymore. That should bring my memory usage down to normality. 69% still high, but I'm not going to kill it anymore. What's up, Rob? Not sure if I said hello yet. Anik down 4% for whatever reason. Looks like GE down 3.3%. Woo! Right back down. Told you CEO buybacks never work. Okay, so we're kind of back down here in the doldrums a little bit. Market not saving, or I should say the Fed not saving us. It's a nice drop on GE there. Oh, now Foot Locker taking the brunt on our global watch list, or as I like to call it, Florida. Earnings, it didn't go down that far. It's 11% is far enough, but let's see what's leading us today. BITA, the 3 times short ETF for the Russell 2000, 3000, whatever, and Boeing. Why is Boeing leading us? That's some pretty decent volume on Boeing this morning. FAA said to invite pilots to participate. Oh, and max testing. Nice. Boeing sees record max output by June, says sources. Okay, maybe Boeing's a bounce back play. They didn't really sell Boeing off very far, kind of just within the realm of the previous base. They're not, it's not out for the count necessarily. ServiceNow having a pretty good day today as the rest of the market tries to take a vacation. Twilio, not bad. Let's adjust the daily time frame. And the weekly time frame.
Daddy?
Yes, Ethan.
Can I play Minecraft?
Why don't you do your 20 minutes of reading this morning?
Okay.
Thank you. Close my door, please.
Yes, ma'am.
You say ma'am? Silly. Okay, let's go back to Boeing. Twilio still bouncing off that 200-day moving average. Looking really good, at least from a low perspective. Actually, quite a bit of work this morning. We'll see what leads to it. What it leads to. ServiceNow, similar situation. Newer, not looking newer, looking older. Much, much, much older. Paycom, up and at 'em. Broke over our trend line right there. Yesterday had a high volume candle day. Looks like based on that candle, this one. It's a weird candle to have a high volume one. It is what it is. Ring, ServiceNow, BITA, TDG, Workday, Stone, Roku. Looking froggy this morning. Roku looks like it's getting set for a little pop. We'll see if the market's going to let it do that or if it just doesn't care because it's Roku. Adobe Fortinet still tightening up here, still looking good. I do like this kind of tightening up action. It's not ideal on the weekly chart here, but you do have a prior uptrend, and I guess that is a day, so we have to consider that. 15% deep base does make this a flat base pattern. I can argue your buy points are at 89.02 versus the singular spike up here to 93. So, of course, this, if you look on the very far left of my daily chart here, it looks like that was the prior high, just right up to it before we gap down, which was this area right there. Eli Lilly not looking too bad. Velocity looking pretty good, sitting at new highs. Anik, did you just come back? You just pop back from that? Wow. Talk about a thinly traded stock. That's why they recommend you not trade thinly traded stocks. All right, Atlassian looking all right. Still holding nice and tight. Same with Atlassian. It's the same one. Toll Brothers. Charter, PayPal, Netflix, PayPal, MasterCard. So apparently Apple partnered with MasterCard. I'm not sure if that's going to give MasterCard any kind of lead in the credit card wars or whatever. If you guys do have credit cards, though, that Apple card looks really good. Almost made me think about getting a credit card for about 4 seconds, which is longer than most credit cards. Most credit cards, I think about getting a credit card for less than half a second. So that Apple card doing pretty good. Square, MyGen, Starbucks up again. Still very flat. We talked about this one within a 3 weeks tight pattern. Volume really diminishing. The sellers, look at the sellers just drying up. I really think this thing's just gonna pop basically at some stage of this game. Not like a 40% pop, but you know, it looks like we're stalling out at 100. I'm not sure if we've ever been to 100. It doesn't look like we've been to 100 before. At least I'm sure Starbucks done some splits before. I doubt they were worth, 32 cents back in 1992. But, man, 32 cents to $96. Who the hell would have thought? Isn't Howard Schultz the richest man in the world yet? They say $4.6 billion for Howard Schultz's net worth. That's it? Only $4.6 billion? Wow, I thought he had more than that. Well, they're doing a great job, whatever they're doing. Good for him, man. The dude that brought coffee to the masses What an amazing story. Like even more so than Google and Amazon. Like everyone was trying to be Google and Amazon. Everyone. Literally everyone. Nobody was trying to be kind of like Elon Musk in electric cars. Like there really wasn't too many people trying to be the electric car person, um, except for Elon, and there wasn't too many people trying to do coffee like Starbucks was trying to do coffee at the time. Just an amazing story. Good job, Howard. I don't even drink coffee. And what makes me say that is this chart pattern right here. Everything comes back to the chart pattern, especially with me. Bullish for Anik? No, it just means it's thin. David Koch is dead at 79. What? David Koch? Well, one of them. Well, what's the other one? David Koch and David Koch died at 79. Wow. 11th richest person next to his brother. They would have been the first richest person if they were just, if one twin would eat the other. Oh, he retired? See, he retired a year ago. Now he's dead. Never retire. Oh, he ran for president in 1980. I didn't know that. His brother, that's sad, man. Hopefully it wasn't a shock to his brother. Hopefully they kind of knew what was coming. Koch brothers did not back Donald Trump in 2016. Hmm. Well, it's always sad when someone dies, even if they don't agree with you on political issues. Good morning, Alan. Yeah, and I guess Anna getting up a little bit, 0.72%. I don't know what that's about. A thin order book, just a big order taking it down. I guess that's probably what it is. All right, Nasdaq looks like it's ready to kind of roll over a little bit here. Maybe. You got yesterday as a distribution day, probably. Let's go check IBD, which I've not been doing. I'm not on my right profile. .67%. Check out the big picture. Uptrend under pressure. 2 distribution days of the Nasdaq. One on the S&P. Mild distribution day for the Nasdaq. What are you doing, IBD? This is not how you used to behave. With just 2 distribution days for the Nasdaq. Oh, I guess it was a confirmed uptrend, so you can't. Okay. I take back what I said. Oh, Intuit had earnings, huh? Yeah, we noted they had earnings, didn't they? We said they were having. I said 15% pop. It was only 5% pop. So, all right, didn't miss out on much. That's good. Market down 0.81%. Looks like we're really happy to go lower these days. Look at that big drop right there. And then a low volume bounce back overnight back to the highs and a failure again. Damn it. Freaking annoying. Looks like we're dropping a little bit here, trying to go over under yesterday's low, which would kind of, we're going to fill this gap. I guess we'll see what happens when we do. Yeah. Well, it's a follow through day, so yeah, you kind of get what you get with one of those. Damn, I got shaken out of my fucking position too. I hate when that happens. So hate when that happens. All right, so we stopped a little bit here. Maybe we'll start turning back up. You know how this market does, kinda. So far, volume I would argue is a little bit higher than yesterday at the open. Don't really recall what happened. I don't know what was I there for when this thing dropped like that. I don't remember that for whatever reason. Looks like it was at 7 o'clock. Can't remember if I was here at 7 o'clock or not. I think I left at like 7:10. I think we were just moving lower. So continue that drop till about 7:40, 7:30. Hmm. Ah.
I did my hair all by myself.
Let me see. Looks great. You did such a good job, James. Give me a hug. So good. Ooh, that's so good. Put the gel in and everything?
Can I read for 20 minutes yet?
I don't remember.
Can I play video games?
Let me see how long my stream's been going.
I think I did. Because when I read it,
Yeah, it's been about 20 minutes. It's been about 20 minutes.
I play.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Good job. Close my door, please.
Okay.
Good job on your hair, James, really. All right. What's up, Eli? Good morning. Yeah, so leading stock is the short Russell. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Cash does feel pretty nice, although I'm still pissed I got shaken out of my short. Just it was really stupid, actually. But yeah. Get what you get. You don't throw a fit. Yeah, not much to do here, it looks like. So wait for the NASDAQ to do the inevitable. Which is probably for it to move lower. Means we just got slapped on some tariffs by the NASDAQ. Or by the NASDAQ, by the Chinese. Starbucks? Yeah, Starbucks could be good. I mean, but really, almost anything is in danger if we go really bullish. But if you look at, Starbucks during the correction, it's down 13%, less than that even from what it looks like here. So it's hard to say that Starbucks is really a bad play. It's just showing superb strength. This was during that entire correction where the market went, 12.5%. The whole market went down about 25. It greatly outperformed the marketplace here. And then it's proceeded to take you on a very low and slow journey from 64 up to 96. I mean, kind of hard to argue with a 50% return in the past 8 months. That's pretty good. Pretty good. But yeah, Starbucks is good. I mean, look, if you have some, like I said, Roku, Starbucks, some of the ones that are really, truly leading, probably put Coop in that category, the way it's behaving. Looks like it has earnings coming up a little bit. But really, in all honesty, in a lot of circumstances, it's really best just to stay cash until you see a few corrections. You can kind of paper trade some, but I don't know. It's really better just to kind of feel things out. Do you think it could be the 30% on the break of $100 that IBD talks about? Well, maybe. See, here's the thing. This isn't the first time Starbucks has ever traded over $100. They've just split their stock. That's the difference. And $100 isn't what it used to be. It's really not what it used to be. Orders, high lows. No, there's a thing in here where they talk about, and I have them all removed just because it kind of gums up the chart a little bit. Study markers, patterns. Where is it? Alerts, orders, corporate actions. There we go. So, purple is splits. So, let's double check I'm right, because I could be wrong. So that was split on 4-8, only a 2 for 1. So 4-8, so $50 would be $100. So maybe it hasn't quite seen $100, but in theory that would be where it went to over $100 right there back in 2015. Doesn't look like they had a split after that, so in theory it could be the first time they've printed $100.
What would you like me to convert $100 to?
I'd like you to turn yourself off, Siri.
Got it.
Wow. Stupid person listened. Tesla 129. I watched an interesting video yesterday. I don't think I have a link to it anymore, but it was a YouTube video by some channel. Looks like a father and son team that just talk about stuff. And it was about the conspiracy against Tesla. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe they're right. And what they talked about was how the oil industry conspired to slow down the electric cars for the past several decades. And that what they're doing now by short selling Tesla is trying to slow Tesla's stock price down. They can't slow the momentum of the company down, so they're trying to slow the stock price down by shorting the crap out of it and spending billions in doing it. Because and this is where their analysis gets a little iffy, and I think they're just taking advantage of probably the uneducated audience. What they're saying is that the oil industry makes like 2-point-something trillion or billion dollars a day, or something like that, a day. And they're saying that the oil industry, quote unquote, the oil industry is shorting Tesla stock, which is only costing them $10 billion in total. So only like 2 to 3 days worth of, worth of oil profits just to slow Tesla down. And every day they slow Tesla down, they're making, a majority of that, to whatever $1 billion a day that the oil industry makes. Now, keep in mind, I was kind of loose listening to it, so I didn't go deep into their numbers, but neither did they. I mean, they were good numbers. They said, here's the price of oil, here's how much oil we use, here's how much profit they make, and I get it, but it's split amongst several companies. One thing they did say, though, which I thought, I didn't look into this yet, it's probably very true and poignant, is that it was Texaco buys battery technology. So yeah, right here, patent encumbrance of large automotive NIMH batteries, nickel metal hydride. So apparently Texaco, Chevron, was it? Texaco, oil company Texaco. They basically shelved this battery technology, apparently. I don't know. That's what they said. I didn't look into it, but veto power over any sale of licensing of nickel metal hydride. What they did is they basically said you can make it for small batteries, but not for big batteries. So I'm not sure. You can look into that deeper if you want. But apparently the oil industry has been encumbering EVs for a long time. And I guess it kind of makes sense. You can do whatever you want with money. So it's their money. They can be douchebags if they want to. But yeah, so anyway, I thought that was a kind of an interesting thing that I saw. I know that you guys like Tesla, so I figured I'd share it. It's just a YouTube video, though. I'm sure you could find it if you if you gaggled it. Okay, so there's Intuit, Shopify, back up, Carvana up, Twilio up. Some of the good ones. Roku doesn't appear to be up here. Where's Roku? I don't see Roku on my list here. I don't think I've added it back. I was just mad at it. Yeah, I haven't added it back. Let me add Roku on here. Whoops, wrong button. Don't say it. Okay. There we go. We'll add Roku back up there. Yeti leading our down list today. Not a very good sign for Yeti. Right there. Say GE's come back a little bit. Oh, yeah, it has come back a little bit. After that one kind of down wick right there. Still not 100% sure they're going to be able to save the stock, just the way the momentum's going. GLD only up 0.37, 0.38%. Getting some more distribution this morning. That's a pretty crazy candle right there on the daily chart here. Looks like it's someone, sorry about that, smacked the mic. There's a big GLD fight going on. I don't know who's on each side of that, but they're battling. KG, yeah. Is that 5%? 8%. Woohoo! It's still under the 200-day moving average. Welcome to Real Bursting Bubbles. Qs have come up quite a bit. Let's kind of see what's going on there. We got a little bit of volume stepping in here. Kind of opposite gold. What just happened? Something just happened. I don't know if it's tariffs. I don't know if it's... I don't know what it is, but something just happened. Gold and Qs just did the exact opposite of one another. What is it? Doesn't Google have a news feed? They've got like a whole, yeah, news.google. We know David Koch died. Let's do stories for me. Tesla gets stolen with key fob hack on camera in seconds. Wow. Over-the-air update coming for that. Ivanka injured, missing in action again amid Trump's disloyal claim? What's that? Put some tariff stuff on there. 21 minutes ago, China threatens new tariffs if Trump escalates the trade war. That could be based on the earlier news articles, though. Oh, that's not a bad move. That's not even that small for these days. All right, we kind of did find a little low right there, some elevated volume. Looks like we did get our next low, and that was the low, volume decreasing, and now we get a nice pop. Is it a Bitcoin world again? Looks like Tron's up 4%, but other than that, basically Bitcoin. Looking for Litecoin to maybe make a move. Litecoin's doing pretty good. Not a lot of volume, though. Not bad. Hope Matic moves. Hope they all move. I don't know. Bitcoin's probably going to move. The rest are probably not going to do much. Gold's still moving lower. Still very choppy. I'm not sure what the general plan is right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm going to get out of here. Help my... Oh, no, kids are already ready for school. I don't need it. I don't need to help them. That's pretty cool. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, kids are pretty much ready to go, so a little bit of extra time here, which is good. We watch the market do nothing. It looks like we're going to watch the market fall a little bit here. Oh, yeah, already right back down. I'm really surprised GLD's not up more. So Intuit's doing pretty good now, up about 6%. Looks like it's finally getting some approval from the markets on its earnings. People still need some tax software, even though they missed earnings a little bit there. I think they're looking at guidance here probably a little bit more than some other things. GE looks like Yeti. Is that lower for Yeti? Yeah, since we saw it, yeah, it's lower. Not looking very good for Yeti. Let's get this off the actionable list. Doesn't need to be on here. I'm in a short in GE, so that's going to stay on there. Funko, still looking okay. LK needs to go away. Although I think I'll probably add that to my global list. I don't think I have it on here. And what was the other one we just took off? Shoot. Yeah. We'll find it again. Doing okay. DHT, not very actionable. Just delete it. OKE. I freaking hate how you work. Did it again. There we go. Alright, OKE. Still chopping up near those highs. Unable to get past them so far. INSG. That thing's got to go away. Backspace? Delete or backspace? No, I've got to be in here so I can mess it all up. Alright, Fox, ESTC. Not really. Sherman-Williams. AMD, non-directional. Sherman-Williams is actually pulling in here. Maybe test the 50-day again. Booking. Yeah, not moving the other day. Snap. Was that earnings? No, that was just a attempted highs. JD, INS. ZTO. Still unable to get over 20. Amazon curling in. Alright, sorry, NBev. Gots to go. Sorry, Square, you gotta go too. GRFS. Anik. Chipotle. Chipotle very much like Starbucks. Just in its egregious uptrend. DR Horton still looking really good. Really not even a red day the past little bit. Real Page, Sands, Starbucks, Cyber, MDCO, Qualys, not quite dead yet. What's GME, Craig? I'll go take a look at the chart in a second. I'm just not quite sure why you think it's going bankrupt. I know nothing about it. Atlassian, again, still looking good. Buy this thing on any dip. Any intraday dip there. Roku, are you... Oh, did you just make a new high? Looks like you did. Why do you think GameStop's going to bankruptcy? I don't know nothing about it, but I'm not saying they're not. Kiwi looking pretty good. Shopify looking pretty good. And Roku looking good. Let's look at GME. Why are they going to bankruptcy? Wow. And the chart says they're going into bankruptcy. Just too many subscription services. Been short since 15. I mean, that's up to you. That you're up a tremendous amount. I mean, let's just... Yeah, apparently. Apparently so. Kind of sucks. Nobody wants to go to any store anymore. Oh, gaming without buying games? Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how PlayStation's going to work with that model. Well, so you're... let's say you had 1,000 shares, $15,000. And now you're at $3,000, so you've made $12,000. How much more do you want, I guess? I mean, I don't know about bankruptcy. I'm not sure about that. If they're savvy business people, they would sell to someone or do something like that. I mean, you're up a tremendous amount. You could gain another $3,000, $3,150 on that same $15,000. It's about a 20% gain. So you got about 80% profit. Question is, do you want the other 20%? And then what are the odds of it actually not going to bankruptcy and then maybe going sideways for a very, very long period of time? So I guess it's just up to you in terms of if you want that other 20% and how bad if you do want it, I mean, congratulations on the trade. That's been a fantastic short. Hopefully GE can do that in the next month. Yeah, sure, Craig. Yeah, it's up to you, man. It's up to you. I mean, look, if you see another opportunity, first of all, let us know in the chat room. Second of all, if you don't see another opportunity, you can run the risk on that. You could take partial profits. You can close out 75% of the trade and be perfectly happy. It could take another few weeks maybe before this, because usually when these things bounce, they float for like a month or so, and then they kind of roll over. That's sometimes how these stops. This one popped up a little bit here and floated. This one didn't really pop. It started low, went sideways for a week or two. This one popped up for a few weeks. So, it's up to you. You also have your, carrying costs and stuff like that, But if you see another opportunity, definitely close out the position and feel great about yourself. Maybe, Rob. I don't remember. I don't remember this stock specifically. We could have. Absolutely, we could have. I tend to have more of a bullish bias, though, so I really look for things going up. I don't really look to short things into bankruptcy. Although, to be honest with you, there's probably decent money in that. I mean, it is kind of a little fledgling industry. It's just not as, I don't know, not as fun as watching stocks go up. Watching a stock slowly die is probably one of those things where, feels a little bit morbid, even subconsciously for a lot of people. I think it was a gap down day. Yeah, it could have been. We touch on a lot of stocks. GLD 0.45%. Looks like the how the Q's doing. Kind of right back here towards day's highs. Arguably on low volume. Also looks like there's a little resistance point there on the overnight session. Oh yeah, right there's a nice pivot point about about 187.75. So that's interesting. SQQQ time? Yeah, it could be. It could be SQQQ time, Rob. I mean, possibly if you're looking for a trade. I don't know if I wanted. I don't know. I got burned already. I burned myself. So I don't know if I want to do it again. I don't want to get burned. I don't want to chop around. I don't want to overtrade. I don't want to do the dumb shit that I usually do and that most traders usually do. I just don't. I mean, technically, we're in an uptrend. We had a follow-through day. So we have an undercut. So what would negate the follow-through day is going under this low. That's what would negate the follow-through day. I mean, is it likely we go down and come down and retest it again? I think so. But is it something, I mean, that I want to put money at risk for? I don't know. There's so much uncertainty right now. In both directions, really in both directions. There's just a lot of uncertainty. We've been able to kind of hold up here in this weird high range. It could all come crashing down with a big 5% down day. I don't know. We got Fed speak coming up this week. There's just so much uncertainty. There really, really is. And it's just not a. This isn't an environment where you want to jump into the when the sharks are in the water. You don't want to jump in with the sharks because there's nothing but sharks in the water here. So I mean, what if you want to do that? I mean that's a decision you got to make, Rob. But I don't know. I think I may just abstain from picking a directional choice, and trying to make money in that fashion. All I can tell you is that from my experience, and once your trading plans start to go awry, and it feels bad, don't try to get it back and just let it be. Hopefully your loss is small. Mine was relatively small. It wasn't, wasn't small, but it wasn't big either. So it was big enough to bite, not enough to hurt, So anyway, could it be SQQQ time? Yeah, I think so. I think we could be at least on the intraday thing here without any further news potentially. Although I don't know what popped the markets. That's the other thing. And just get both. Well, then you lose on both trades. Well, at least the commissions. So, yeah, like I don't know what caused that little pop there about an hour or so ago, or half an hour ago, whatever it was. This little guy right there. Yeah, about 25. I don't know what caused that pop 25 minutes ago, but yeah, I mean, could we be easily intraday for a leg down to one, at least maybe testing the low? Sure, absolutely, we could do that. I've got my gold position. Gold's just jumping. Wow, I've got my gold position. I think I'm okay with that for right now. I wish it would have gotten in heavier. I don't know. I guess I could add here, but add to a winning trade, but I'm not sure whether I want to do another short in the NASDAQ or not. I don't know. I've felt this way before. I really hate feeling this way in terms of, being shaken out of a good position with a good entry point, which is what happened. Really hate that. Wow, gold's going off my chart right there. What's going on, gold? Nasdaq's not reacting yet. Gold does look like it's running. So we got this going up to, I've got my measured move at about 148 for gold. All right. Gold's getting going. Look at that volume this morning, and now we're starting to take off. So there's definitely some accumulation happening down there. Very quiet action. Look at the daily volume so far today. Very, there we go. 4.1. Yesterday was 6.8. So very early on in the day. We're pretty good right here, I think. So definitely probably will be, won't be a pocket pivot, but it should be an elevated volume day. If nothing else, even if we sell off from these levels. MJ's up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure what the market wants to do here. All right, guys, I'm going to end it right there with GLD making a nice little move. Looks like it's pulling in. So we'll see what happens, but maybe we could start the next leg up here on GLD if we don't get another crazy sell-off. I don't know. I'm just not convinced. You got all this fuddy action over here in GLD. I mean, in theory, I guess that could have been a support candle, and they were unable to drop it much lower there. So maybe that does show some accumulation in GLD. So, but good moves here for the name. I'm not mad with it. If we did 1% today in GLD, I think that'd be fantastic. That'd be super good. And then we'll see what happens with the NASDAQ. With the NASDAQ here, but I do think up in this area, without, and I've said this for the past week or so, without the trade war resolution, and now with EU trying to maybe slap tariffs on the U.S., I mean, that could not bode well for the Nasdaq. Just put it that way. Especially the Dow Jones and the S&P, if you wanted to kind of play with those ones. Let's see what the, speaking of which, let's see what the SPY is doing as gold tries to make new highs. So SPY, which is the larger ETF for the S&P 500, and arguably the S&P is probably more exposed to tariffs than the Nasdaq would be, due to its nature of just global general companies, not just tech companies. Nasdaq has a lot of tech, and the SPY looks a lot like the Nasdaq. I think DJX, I'm not sure if that's an ETF or not. Oh, thanks, babe. And Dow probably has even a little more exposure, and you can see not looking nearly as bullish as some of the other ones, so that one could go down a little bit more. I'd have to go back and a little bit and look at the Dow Jones did during that last correction. Crazy. Have to do a little bit of work there. Actually, it's only down 20%, so we'll have to see. But Nasdaq is generally the more volatile one, as we got gold up 0.91%. Took another little move higher there. Pretty good stuff. And gold's still looking pretty good at these levels too. October 18. Looking pretty good right there. And that good volume stepping in there too. Look at that. That's continuing right there with the beautiful volume candle. Fed rate cut odds rise on Powell's speech. Cites trade war global slowdown. That's why gold's rising, it looks like. So we'll see what happens after the euphoria of the speech wears off. Yeah, this was just out 3 minutes ago too. GLD up 1% now. Nasdaq pretty flat. 0.29, not really caring much about the speech. Well, we'll see what IBD says about this thing. Okay. Powell on Friday seemed to boost the case for easier Fed policy to counteract global economic weakness and trade friction. Dow Jones and broader stock market narrowed losses as Powell sought to shape future policy on a divided Fed. Powell didn't get squarely behind more Fed rate cuts, but his job may have gotten a lot easier after Beijing slapped retaliatory tariffs on China. Powell's clearest signal came in discussing the challenge of heightened China trade war friction. This is a quote from Powell. There are, however, no recent precedents to guide any policy response to current situation. There may be a call for Fed policymakers to think outside of the box. End quote before that last sentence there. Fed Chief Powell was also an eventful 3 weeks since the last Fed meeting, with more China tariffs and further evidence of a global slowdown. Odds for multiple Fed rate cuts rose in the wake of the new China tariffs and the Fed Powell's speech. After the news of the latest escalation of the trade war, the Dow Jones turned negative. Then Fed Chief Powell stepped into the plate shortly after 10 a.m., released the Powell speech transcript. The Dow Jones briefly turned positive. So that was the pop we saw, was Powell speaking. The 10-year Treasury ticked a little bit lower. Financial markets saw good odds of 3/4 point Fed rate cuts by early in 2020. Yet 3 policymakers, including 2 current voting members, have said recently they want to stand pat on the Fed rate cuts. That group includes people you don't know. The big question going into Powell's speech is whether he would provide clear direction to a central bank that seems to have lost its bearings. The combination of still solid growth in the U.S. but sinking Treasury yields at home and negative yields around the world has monetary policymakers puzzled. Rosengren went so far as to say that cutting rates even lower now could make a recession worse. Trade war escalation may seal September rate cut. Most of the shots in the China trade war have been fired by Trump lately. In May, he raised tariffs. Then after a brief break, Trump struck again. But the new batch of tariffs, 5 to 10% on 75 billion of U.S. goods and 25% on U.S. autos, shows that the China trade war is at risk of spiraling. Even worse, the tariffs come as the global growth outlook has deteriorated. Recession in the EU looks likely. The chances of a disruptive Brexit have grown. Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar has strengthened versus other advanced economic currencies. That works against low rates to tighten global financial conditions. Fed rate cut odds spiked after news of more China tariffs, signaling financial markets weren't quite as desperate to Powell to swing policymakers. After the speech, markets have once again fully priced in September Fed rate cut with a tiny chance of a 50-point move. So, anyway, whatever that means. NASDAQ now positive. This is why you don't blanket short. All right, with that, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Kids are going to go to school. I'm going to go say goodbye. Maybe we will go a little bit positive here. And we'll see what that does for gold and for some of the other ones. We got Carvana. Roku looks like it's popped a little bit more, continuing its rally session out of its little base there. You could buy Roku. Looks pretty good. TLRA also looks really good. Just continuing. Carvana, a little bit lower. Twilio doing okay. Atlassian looks really good here. Very low volume here recently. That could be a nice pop for Atlassian. So a lot of good names if you guys want to take positions. But it is a Friday, so I don't know. Things are kind of... We'll see what happens. All right, guys. Yep. Have a good weekend. I'll see you, Rob. See you, everyone. Whoever's still here. Bye-bye.